Soup, I love the delicious chicken soup, yes, that's what I wanted. And they had a nice kitchen, and they had nice chicken soup and chicken and side dishes, all these noodles that goes with it and all kind of good stuff. Finally, good stuff. Yes.
How was the food that you ate at the concentration camps and at the factory? What was it? Do you
It
remember?
was garbage. It was, yeah, it was. In the morning, they just gave out some black coffee, as I said before. And for lunch, a slice of bread with a slice of cold cut. That was it. And then for supper, a soup.
Soup.
That was it. And if you think that I weigh a lot now, I was about 60 pounds.
Wow.
I was just skin and bone. And so was my sister. When I got back, yes.
What's your favorite food now?
Oh, I like everything.
Everything is better than
but, but I'll tell you, honest to God, I remember telling the story to somebody. I said, we were when I was in Auschwitz, we weren't doing any factory work. We were carrying bricks to build a house. The thousands of us carrying one brick. You can imagine 1,000 bricks got there at the same time. And then after that was done, we had to put away potatoes for the winter. We had to go up on a hill, dig trenches, and put the potatoes in their cover that was being put away for the winter. So when nobody looked, we tried to steal a potato. That was like a steak. That raw potato was like a steak. And when I tell the story to somebody, they just look at me. I said, you know what? I believe that you cannot believe it because a full stomach can never understand an empty one. There is no way that you could understand an empty stomach when your full stomach is full. I remember my husband's brothers, were sitting in the living room, and one of them asked me about, because I never talked about it. I just didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want to talk about it. And he asked me, and I thought I'll tell him, a few things about Auschwitz, about the concentration camp. But this was in his beautiful living room by the fireplace, with all the food around the. And he said, is it really true that they were so bad, that they did all these things, bad things, that we saw on the movies, the pictures? I said, I would not believe if somebody told me my story, I wouldn't believe it myself, what I went through. And you're asking me this? I said, but I understand, it's okay. You saw this movie sitting probably by the fireplace, having your good food, with your whole family around in your comfortable house. Why should you understand what I went through? It's impossible. I don't expect you to really. He says, well, I understand. Later on, when a lot of people came already and heard stories, I said to him, do you remember the face you made when I told you my story? He apologized 100 times, that he was so ununderstanding. But that's why I say I didn't blame him because it was so horrible. And certain things, they did. Like I heard this didn't happen in my lager because they had quite a few lagers with thousands and thousands of people. But the SS were walking around us with their dogs. They were biting people. And they didn't care. They were biting into the girls, boys, not boys, they were separated into the girls. And they didn't care. They were in there was a big stand where the SS were watching the lagers. And when they saw a group, we were standing in a group. They were practicing shooting. Among us, all of a sudden we see one of the girls fell And then we realized the guy from there shot one of us. It could have been any of us. We want to see what happened to her. Then we saw that she was shot. So we took her, picked her up, and took her into into the place. The wire around us was all electric. And when somebody was tired of life, just went to the fence and got hold of the fence and was electric. You know, mothers were separated from daughters, from their children. So many of them just went to this wire and killed themselves because they couldn't take it being away from their children. Young mothers, because there were quite a few young mothers. Those people that separated us by the train. There were a lot of Polish Jews that were there already a long time, and they knew what was going on. They kept saying to the young mothers, "Give your child to your mother, to the grandmother." I never knew until we were in there already why they did that. They wanted these young mothers not to be taken because if a mother held on to her child, she was sent to the crematorium. See, if she gave the child to the grandmother, then she was saved. Then she would go, if she was still able to work, she would go to the right, with the workers. So many of them, they thought, give your child to the grandmother. They'll take better care of it. They kept saying, because in Jewish, because they knew what's going to happen to this young mother if she doesn't give her child to the grandma. And this is how a few were saved, a few of these young mothers that I knew, but I'm sure a lot of them were saved that way because they gave their baby. But some mothers couldn't part with their baby, young as they were, and they were killed right away. It's, when we were marching up to this Dr. Mengele, and my mother begged him, she spoke German, begged him, please, please, I beg you, let me stay with my children, I won't be able to take this. And he, with this rotten smile, he says, don't worry, you get together later, don't worry. Well, little did we know what later was. That never happened, of course. And I always remember my mother's sad face, the two of us, my sister and I, when we were separated and her tears were rolling down as she was walking away. And every time, this is, I think, maybe the first time that I can tell you this story with dry eyes. Every time I say this story, I cry because I see her sad eyes, when they separated us. But of course, we never saw her. She was only 44 years old. You know what that I am twice her age, my mother's age, when she was killed. She was so young, just then when the kids were already grown up, 14, 16, 18, the three of us, They would have had an easier life. That's when they killed them. They never really had an easy life. And what a way to die. My God, I can just imagine. It was horrible. That's why I want you to remember that hatred is the worst thing. Hatred kills when it goes out of control. That's why it has to be controlled somehow. And that's why I say that I feel that everybody has the ability to make a choice, make the right one. Don't let anybody talk you into horrible things, because it's so easy, like Hitler offering, all the Jewish properties